Well, the insulation has been in the attic for about a week, and the heaters have been on, and it's really hot. It's been hot in here for a week, even over here where there's been no heat. And the moisture level has really gone down in the floor. It's down below 12%, even in the worst spots. And when I walked in today, I've noticed all the gaps in the boards open back up again. They were pretty shut. And as I walk around, a lot of the boards are snapping and popping. Kind of settling back where they were. But yeah, the gaps have really opened up, I can tell. And all my sunflower seeds that have been dropping on the floor, they're all crunchy. So it's really dry in here, which is good. So it's almost time to get the floor in there. The doors, a lot of them have been warped. The guy's going to exchange them. And we're going to upgrade to the solid core doors. And once I got them in the heat, they kind of straightened up a bit, but they didn't straighten up all the way. They all got a little bit of a bend in them still. A bit of a wobble. It's just kind of annoying. But yeah, as I look in here, I know I see the gaps in the floors wide open. So, an obvious difference in the moisture content in the floor, besides the fact I have the gauge that I just went around and checked. So I'm still waiting for doors. I think the next thing I'm going to do is maybe get these windows wrapped. Waiting for, I don't know, the floors, and then I got to do the trim. It's going to be different, so it's going to be painted. I think I'm going to paint it while it's in place. So I don't know, a lot of things are kind of weird right now for me trying to figure out what to do next. And I know one thing, I could get them windows done, so I'm going to do that. Trying to get ready for floors. Got the underlayment for the vinyl done. These rooms got the edges sanded down, ready for carpet. All these seams, so when you walk across it, you don't feel it. The rest of this is hardwood, so any little ridge that's there you won't feel. This is all sanded down. The replacement for these doors will be here Monday. Today's Saturday. So, I don't know, still trying to figure out proper sequence of getting everything done without having anything here. Just getting different trim pieces cut and ready. There's all the laminate. Get that opened up, acclimated. We're getting quite a bit done. Better stop and show a little bit of footage here. Getting all the doors hung and I got all the solid core doors, so went ahead and hung all these and got them in there, getting the trim up and all the little nail holes filled in and then seam sealed around all the edges. So here's one, no filling, no seam sealer. This one here is no trim. Sometimes you got to shave off the edge or hammer it in or carve it out, whatever you got to do. So when you put this thing on, it lays flat and you don't have a gap, at least not too much of a gap that you can't fill and make look good with a little bit of seam sealer. But every door needs just a little bit of treatment, a little bit of tweaking to make it line up just right and make sure the gaps aren't good. And that's where the good framing comes into play. Right at the very last thing, when you're hanging the doors and you're putting your trim on and you don't have big gaps and things out of square. And you don't have to spend a ton of time doing it. You know, the trim goes on pretty good without having to do a bunch of mess. So that's the way most of them have been. Only a couple of them have been. We got to carve it out a lot. Like down here in this corner, it really stuck out proud. So you just mark that with a pencil and cut that sheetrock out of there. There must have been that much, you know, almost a whole half-inch sheet cut out. So that would lay in flat right down here, just right on this corner. But that's just what you got to do. And today's Friday night, and Monday carpet is coming in these bedrooms, so I want to get this trim done. We're also putting the base on here. All of the base is done, seam sealed, nail holes filled, except to where the doors were. So we got to finish up the door jambs, finish up these little base molding pieces, and then it's ready to paint. So there's going to be a lot of cleanup, a lot of masking, and then we're going to spray all these jambs and this all the base. And we're going to try and do it without messing up the paint job that we already did. So that's why we do a lot of masking. And that's what I mean by doing it backwards. If I would have known I was going to paint that, the trim would have been on first and painted, and then the trim would have been easier to mask off. If not, paint the walls with the roller, you know, whatever. But anyway, it'll get done. Oh boy, the trim done. Almost done touching up. There's all the doors. Looks like they're gonna be okay. Some touch up to do. Just cleaned up the trim work a little bit. Touch up. Yeah, that's what I've been working on, just touching up around the edges just a little bit more. Got the carpet in. And that looks pretty good. I put that tape around the edge so they wouldn't knock it, scrape up my paint job. Spent a lot of time painting this stuff. It looks really good. It's got a nice finish to it. No brush strokes or nothing. Here we are getting some of the laminate flooring stuck in there. Kind of tricky getting it under all the edges and that. Alright, I better show some progress here. Got the floors in, trim back on, touched up again, learned some lessons on all that, for sure. Now we're getting ready to do the linoleum, vinyl they call it. In here, oh man, what did I see here? Ooh. Good thing we came back and looked. That's a nasty spot. Alright. Trim's not on yet. Nailed down anyway. The floor's done. Looks pretty good. Same thing here. A nice tight line up against the tub. Clean that up and do some seam sealing. Same thing in here. Should be pretty good. Countertops are scheduled to be coming. Cool. Got a ton of snow. Got over a foot of snow. Kind of getting things ironed out in here, getting cleaned up. There's the vanities for the bathrooms. Vinyl in. Yeah, next thing we're doing here is doing the closet doors. Windows are all cleaned up. Whoops. These transitions in here looks pretty good. Tubs are cleaned up. Looking good. I'm gonna take these doors off and cut them. So there's a gap at the bottom, like an inch. So air flows underneath there. Trim looks good. Gotta do some seam sealing around the tub. The door's gonna come up against the toilet, which is okay, I guess. Never thought about that. It's not going to be able to swing out of the way. Well, one of them things. This looks really good. Man, look at all that snow. Holy smokes. The colors look good, don't they?